Hello everybody, hope you're well. My name's Adam and I'm from the Mr. Builders YouTube channel. I'm working today with Professional Builder Magazine and their YouTube channel in conjunction with Warmflow, and we're going to talk about everything to do with air source heat pumps. Up to the installation, is it compatible with this house, which is my house? Installation, going to go through everything and clear up a few misconceptions about it, and hopefully see if it's a viable option for me here.
Hello, I'm Neil from Warmflow Engineering. I'm National Sales Manager for Renewables in the UK. I'm just on site on the edge of Birmingham with Adam from AKF Builders, just to look at his refurb project for his own house, to look at air source heat pump and whether it's a viable option instead of gas boilers.
Thanks for coming today, mate. Just to give a quick background on the actual house itself, it's obviously an end terrace, as you can see.
Yes.
I've put a extension on the side of it. It's not massive, it goes out less than 2 metres.
Right,
but
okay.
the idea is that we're extending every room rather than adding rooms.
Yep.
So the rooms in there are going to be quite big, they're going to be quite big to heat.
Yep.
And one of the main reasons why I've asked you here today is because I'm a builder, we do this kind of thing day in, day out for other customers.
Right,
What's
okay.
going on with energy costs and that sort of thing and sustainability.
Yep.
I get asked all the time about air source heat pumps.
Right, okay.
And if I'm completely honest, I haven't really got a lot to say to them. I need to know more about them so I can try and give them more information and try and hopefully go down that route for, again, sustainability, keep the energy costs down, that sort of thing.
Right.
So to that effect, in sort of layman's terms, if you wouldn't mind, an air source heat pump, how exactly does it work?
So with an air source heat pump, it uses the air as the fuel, to make sense. So
Right.
within the unit itself, there is a refrigerant which boils at a really low temperature, and the air causes the refrigerant to boil, which creates friction through a compressor. That is transferred through a heat exchanger, which is then transferred into the system.
Right.
So your fuel, in essence, is the air. So,
Gotcha.
and how a air source heat pump works is the colder the air, technically the less efficient the heat pump. The warmer the air, the more efficient, but we don't use the heat pump necessarily in the summer for heating. So the efficiency costs balance out over the year. So you have a high energy cost at the start of the year, it tailors off in the summer, and then it builds up again towards the winter.
Right.
Key is insulation, especially on a refurb project like this, and ideally underfloor heating, possibly downstairs, and radiators upstairs. So
Right.
it all is key on the property to whether it's suitable or not, because if it's not suitable, you end up with massive electric bills.
Gotcha.
So that's the key.
Right, so that's interesting. So you'd recommend underfloor heating?
Yes, definitely underfloor with air source heat pump.
Ah, right, okay.
So it's on all the time, constantly. So
Right.
you've got constant flow. With a heat pump, you don't want peaks and troughs with it coming on, going off, coming on, going off. You want a steady, constant flow.
Ah, right, okay, because there might be like a misconception out there then that underfloor heating is one big thing to heat, therefore be less efficient with the heat pump, but you're saying...
It's more efficient because it's a lower temperature, so it makes the heat pump more and more efficient.
Ah, right, okay.
So ideally, more underfloor you've got, the better.
Right.
But it depends on the property.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is interesting. And you say insulation's key.
Insulation is key, floors, walls, ceilings, etc., etc.
Right. So it's to that effect then, I'm putting a lot of insulation in here.
Yep.
Because this is my house and I want it,
Yep.
obviously. Argument's sake, next door or all the other houses, 100 odd houses that are on this road,
Yeah.
not necessarily as insulated or can do it the right to what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Would a heat source air pump be efficient for them?
It would be, but what you tend to find is the heat loss is so vast, just the running cost
Right.
outstrip anything that's probably already in there. With any air source, its insulation is key.
Okay.
So what we would do, we'd have a set of the plans, we would size the heat pump accordingly to the heat loss calcs,
Right.
but we would need all the information on the windows, the doors, everything, so we get the requirements right.
Gotcha.
So if you've got a set of plans, we can then size this heat pump for you.
Right, okay. I can order enough plans.
You order
and
enough
then-
plans, and we just, the more information they got, the better we have to feed it into our system.
Gotcha.
To quote it.
Okay, and they're sort of like tailor-made
To tailor-make,
system for the...
it's bespoke to this property.
Right.
If it was a new build property, you kind of know that it's a new build spec, so we know what the insulation values are
Okay.
straight away. So you just need as much detail as possible, really.
Right, yeah. then also, as you can see, we're having underfloor heating.
Yes.
And so the floor is fully insulated.
Yep.
75mm PIR throughout the entire ground floor.
Right, okay.
The extension is 100mm mass fill cavity.
Yes.
So that's all right. With this style of house, the only real heat loss that I've got is the party wall between us and the neighbours.
Right.
And there's not a fat lot I can do there. I can't bring it out in order to insulate it because I'm going to lose too much space and the staircase won't fit and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But apart from that, all the ceiling voids, all the voids within the studs are all going to be fully insulated. All the walls are going to be vapour barriered.
Yep.
So I'm presuming, or I'm hoping, that that will be enough to meet the criteria, basically.
And you're having underfloor with a flow screed on here?
Yes.
Right,
yeah.
okay. So one thing to consider is manifold location.
So I'm presuming we're going to need some kind of, almost like a plant room, basically, an area dedicated to all the stuff.
You do. You need a small plant room because you've got a cylinder, and with ours we have a buffer vessel.
Right.
And you'll have your underfloor manifold as well. So there's a little bit of kit to get in there. So
right, okay.
under the stairs cupboard, or a small utility, or larder unit, something like that.
Right, yeah,
So,
excellent. Well, we have got a utility
Right, okay.
that we've built, so shall I take you through there and we'll have a look?
Yeah, that's fine, yep.
Okay. So this is the little utility area that was
Yep.
sectioned off from the rest of the house. This used to be where the stairs were actually going
Right.
up. So I'm hoping that this will be an ideal area for you well, will everything fit in here? Would this be all right?
So what I would suggest is the buffer vessel there, then your cylinder, and your underfloor heating manifold there.
Okay.
And then you could either box that in with cupboards, because the cylinder will only be sort of 600 out by the time
Right.
you get all the pipe work.
Okay.
Be fine. We need then to get a flow and return from here to the outdoor unit, which maximum of 10 metres, which I presume the outdoor unit is going out there or out there. So
Well, yes.
have a
Well,
look at
yeah,
that.
we'll have a look at that later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're definitely less than 10 metres
Yeah.
from here to the garden.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
the end of the garden actually. So
Yeah, so
we should be all right. From
There'll
that.
be 2 pipes, and there'll be a conduit for electrics as well.
Right.
So kind of a perfect plant room, really.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Okay. And that 10 metres, is that like a hard and fast rule?
Ideally, the closer the better. We prefer 10 metres. You can sort of stretch it to 12 if it's on the same level. So
Right.
we say 10 metres. You covered them.
Okay.
No issue on heat loss. It will need to be insulated as well.
Okay.
The closer the better, really.
Right. Yeah.
Which
Okay.
is always difficult when it's a retrofit.
All right.
If it was a new build, they'd normally have the outdoor unit straight through into the plant room area, and away you go. So
Right.
it just makes it more efficient, really.
Then so it will all fit.
That'll be fine.
Will all
You've
fit
got a
in
drain there as well, which is perfect for your discharge on your cylinders.
there. Right.
Yeah, so normally your underfloor would come out through the doorway and
Right.
away. One thing to consider is wireless controls or wired. So if
Right.
it's wired, you've got to get wires back from each room to here.
Okay.
If it's wireless, it's
Got
less
it.
of a problem.
Right.
So.
And all that's compatible with this system as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
It's all apps
Yeah,
on
yeah.
phones, all that sort of thing.
Yes,
Is it?
yeah. So our heat pump has an app on it,
Right.
and obviously the underfloor you can have an app for that as well. So you
Okay.
have 2 apps side by side. If you want to put apps upstairs, you can do link to your underfloor, so it can do the radiators as well through
Oh,
the
right.
same app as well. So
All right. Okay. Got you.
yeah, that's all achievable.
So, first and foremost,
Yep.
let me apologise for the state of the
No, it's all right. No problem. It's a building site.
Yeah, it looks like something's landed here, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it literally is a building site. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So sorry for that. So the location of the actual pump itself, then
Yep.
would this be all right?
Yeah, so location-wise, if we looked at there, you want 500 from the corner, 500 this side, 400 at the back, and then 1500 in front,
Gotcha.
just for airflow.
Gotcha. That's clear space all
Clear
around
space
it.
around it, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can't put bins or anything in front of it.
No, because the whole idea is you're moving volume of air through it, so it circulates. If you have less that space, it circulates on itself. You've already taken the energy out of the air,
Right.
so then they don't work and you get errors.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
they do come on rubber feet as well, so you could fit it on gravel, whatever you're going to do, slabs, slope it a bit with a drain in the middle, whatever you want to do really.
All right. Okay.
So the flow and returns would go literally in
We'll
a straight line.
We'll go straight through.
Yeah, if you wanted to move it under the window, that's fine, because our units are less than a metre, so it would be fine under the window.
Right.
Noise-wise,
It's a
yes.
big question. Big question.
If you think of a gas boiler,
Yeah.
the noise you get from a flue, it's nowhere near as loud as that.
Oh, really?
On our 20 kilowatt, the maximum is 54 decibels.
Oh, right, okay.
So we talk at around 56 decibels.
Right.
So not noisy, but it's an air flow noise. So they're not on full speed all the time. They ramp up and ramp down.
Right.
So you wouldn't even notice. You could sit out here, you wouldn't even notice it was running.
Gotcha.
So,
right.
Sorry, I said before it's 1500 in front, 400 at the back. So if you wanted to fence it off, you could do.
Oh, right, okay.
Make a bit of an area.
Got you. Oh, right, yeah, I didn't realise
Yeah.
that they were that
Yeah.
quiet, and then that's a big consideration for people.
Yeah.
Especially terrace houses. I mean, next door is obviously it's just
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
the back door's
yeah.
just there, so that's with some consideration for
Yeah.
them as well. All right, okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So, in terms of where this garden is located, in terms of which way it's pointing and the sunshine and whatnot, there's a big house there that blocks a lot of sun.
Yeah.
In the winter, it gets hardly any round
Yeah.
here at all. Would that be all right?
It'd be fine. It doesn't really make any difference because it's the air and the fan is moving the volume of air, so it doesn't really make any difference on the temperature of air as such.
Oh, right, okay.
Whether it's north or south facing, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay. So
You don't normally say it must be on a south facing wall. It doesn't really matter. The location is key for direct pipe work.
Oh, right.
So if you didn't want it here, you could have it down the side, bring your pipe work in and across. So.
Gotcha. Which technically is closer, but
Yeah, it
more
just
awkward, I suppose,
depends
isn't it?
what you
Straight
want to
line,
do
yeah.
here. And obviously you've got to think about, you probably want somewhere for your wheelie bin, so do you make a bit of a storage area
Yeah.
maybe?
and incorporate that into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our units are anthracite as well, so they look quite well against the cream
Oh, right, okay.
backdrop as well.
Oh, right.
So,
I
and
didn't
it is a
think of
roll
that.
colour, so if you had anthracite windows it would match
It'll match that as well.
the same. So
Excellent. Do you have to keep the front of them clear, I presume? When you say put bins, you can't put bins right
yeah,
in front of it?
you want 1500 clear space in
Oh,
front.
right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Right,
But
yeah.
you could fence it off, make
Gotcha,
a bit
yeah,
of an
yeah.
area if need be.
Yeah.
So
Got you.
it's just for airflow, the volume of air moving through them. That's all.
Excellent. Got you. And that obviously needs power to it.
Yes.
What sort of size cable are we talking?
So depending on the run, the electrician obviously will size a cable.
Right.
We will supply, when we size a heat pump, we'll give a ampage cable
Right.
that's needed, and we'll also supply a document with all the wires. So all the wires come back to the unit, but we supply a document because some are voltage, some are volt free.
Right.
So we supply all that
Okay.
as well. So, and we would then speak to the electrician and say, this is what you need, and he would say, right, can I do this, can I do that? But because it's in the plant room, you just put a duct straight through,
Straight through and
away it goes,
there you go.
straightforward.
Excellent.
Normally we'd have sort of two ducts, one for voltage, one for low voltage, so they don't mix, so you don't get different signals.
Right,
So
okay.
it's straightforward.
Excellent. Nice one. Neil, so this is the loft.
Yep.
I was going to say it's completed. It's semi-completed. It seems a bit of a dumping ground whilst all the work was going on. It's heavily insulated, up to spec as it would be, building regulations, that sort of thing, vapour barriers, the lot.
Right.
But it's essentially one big open room.
Yeah.
So what sort of size radiator? Do you think a normal conventional radiator, or is there something about the radiators that needs to change regarding the heat source?
Normally you would size this up for a gas boiler or an oil boiler. The radiators have a higher flow temperature. With an air source, the flow temperature is a lot lower. So you would just need to get the radiator room size for the heat loss for a air source heat pump.
Right.
So in essence, the radiator will be bigger because the flow temperature is not as high. So wherever you're getting your radiators from, whatever merchant, give them the room sizes, the
Yeah.
insulation, they will then size it radiated for an air source heat pump.
Right.
And basically on the radiator chart, the manufacturers will have different flow temperatures for different appliances.
Okay.
So an air source radiator will be bigger than a gas or an oil boiler
Yeah.
because the flow temperature is a lot lower.
Gotcha.
So in some cases you may end up with two radiators
Right.
rather than one big one. So
Okay.
it just depends on preference. With it being quite a big room, you may have one on one side and one on the other, just to even it up. It all just depends on what's going in the room, really.
Gotcha. But it's perfectly doable.
Yeah, no
But
problem.
we are,
yeah,
as I say, it's a loft, so we're 2 floors up from
Yeah.
where all the stuff is down there.
yeah,
And there's 4 radiators on the first
Yeah.
floor, beg your pardon. And that's all, this is all
yeah.
doable.
So when we size a heat pump, we'll look at the whole fabric of the building.
Okay.
We'll come up with an output for the heat pump. We'll size a heat pump and cylinder, then you or your plumber will then size the radiators accordingly.
Gotcha.
Depending on style, if you want designer ones, if you want aluminium ones are good for heat pumps, but you are kind of restricted on what's available on the market. Tail rails, you can have tail rails again, probably with a dual element, so you've got electric element in the summer, but yeah, that's fine, no problem. I believe you received the quote.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
So we've done a heat loss calculation on the property, taking into considering all the insulation values, your underfloor and your radiators. So the quote that is our quote. We've come out with a 20 kilowatt heat pump with a 240 litre cylinder, and with our pack we supply everything you need to install it. You just need pipe and fittings, and electrics. So with that price, that is a list price. If you then take that to your merchants, they will price it for you, and then we'll place the order when you're ready, really.
Okay.
So
in terms of pipes, is it copper, plastic, either or?
From the heat pump to the cylinder and buffer, it's 28mm copper minimum.
Right.
You can use plastic, but it's normally 32mm.
Okay.
Due to flow rates and internal diameters. Ideally, you want 15mm to every radiator.
Right.
And a 22mm flow and return circuit.
Got ya.
It's all about flow rates.
Right. Okay.
So, but if we'll speak to your plumber, we'll speak to your electrician, and we'll work alongside you till it's ready to commission. We'll actually come and commission it as well for you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
No problem.
In terms of a 20 kilowatt, is that standard size, you reckon, or is
it
slightly bigger?
So it's actually the twin coil fan. So,
right. Okay.
It's our biggest unit. It's twin coil fan. So it will still sit outside where we discussed on the first visit.
Okay.
But it's just, because of the heat loss of the property,
yeah,
it's our biggest unit. So although we say 20 kilowatt, it won't be at 20 kilowatt all the time.
Right.
It just depends on the heating load.
Okay.
So that's the size of the unit there. Outside, so we still fit in the location we discussed before.
Right,
no problem.
Yeah, they're quite good looking, really.
Yeah. So it's anthracite. So it will match windows if they're anthracite and downpipes if they're anthracite as well. So.
Right, lovely.
So it looked quite good on the patio.
Excellent.
Yeah, but you can have that brochure as well.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Nice one, thank you.
No problem at all.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch.
Lovely, yes.
Anything you
Look forward to it. So a couple of the main points I took from Neil's visits, and they're questions that keep cropping up when customers ask me, and I really wanted to get some clarification on it, was that the first and foremost, the underfloor heating, it's actually recommended. I thought it would be going the other way. It will be such a ground floor, underfloor heating would be too much for a air source heat pump to do, but no, they're saying by all means have it, which is great, because that's where a lot of people are going down that road now for their new builds or their extensions, that sort of thing. Another thing is how quiet they are. 54 decibels, that's almost a whisper. That is really quite interesting. I thought it'd be a lot louder than that, and of course terrace houses like this, it's going to be quite, there's no way it won't be close to the neighbour's back door, that sort of thing, or a bedroom window. So there's always that consideration to make. But that's great. Another thing is how quite stylish they are. They're really actually quite good looking. They're not anthracite grey, and they'll blend into any garden. Again, I thought there would be this big lump of a machine out in the garden, noisy, whirring around all the time. That's a complete misconception. It's not like that at all. And another thing as well was the radiators. You do need bigger radiators for it, which I didn't know. Just the way it's all heated differently. So that's another consideration to make. But by all means, you can have more than one in one room upstairs or something, or it's just one of those things you've got to think about, especially as a builder, advising customers. But no, I thought it was great, and it's cleared up a few things, a few misconceptions in my head, and it does seem like a great sustainable answer, an alternative to gas. So I'm really happy, very pleased.